Hi, everybody. Welcome along to the big 30th episode of Percussion Discussion. I can't believe we're at 30 already, but we are. It's flying by. We've had some incredible guests. I'm sure you'll agree. If I could ask you to have a look at our social media platforms, we've got a YouTube channel. If you could subscribe to that. We have a Facebook page if you would like to give us a little like. And of course, Instagram. If we could take a follow from you, that would be amazing. This ensures that you won't miss any of the incredible interviews we've got coming up or any of the ones we've already done. So if you could sort that, I'd be very, very grateful. The 30th show is worthy of another huge guest, and boy, have we got one. A total giant of the UK drum world and in fact, the drum world in its entirety. A gentleman who started off his career playing for the Small Faces. Then he went on to join the Faces with Rod Stewart. Then he filled in the mighty shoes of Keith Moon for a good while with The Who. And he's done countless other things as well. So it gives me incredible pleasure to welcome Mr. Kenney Jones.
It's a pleasure. That was a short interview. See you. Bye.
I told you I wouldn't keep you long, didn't I?
It's nice to be here.
Thanks for having me. Honestly, it's really, really kind of you. So obviously, and I always tend to start the interviews with this. We're in the middle of a pandemic. Hopefully we're heading towards the other end of it now. Have you been able to keep busy? Have you been doing any playing, recording?
God. My wife is a slave driver. She all those jobs you want to get around to and you never get around to. I'll do that. I'll get around to it one day. Well, we've got around to all of them and we're running out of things now. So yeah, no, I've been really busy.
So it's been a blessing, really, then.
Oh yeah, no, don't forget we got horses, and my son's got about 30 horses. He plays polo. He's got to have that many, and he looks after so many horses, and I have to help him with them. So there you
go. Let's start the polo thing, because obviously there's yourself and another very famous drummer, Stuart Copeland, who's.
Yes.
Was it just coincidence that you're both into the polo?
Well, yeah, kind of, yeah. When we discovered each other played polo, so Stuart called me up and said, you want to come over? Why don't you come over to my place? I'll come over to yours. And
yeah, sure.
So we had a little game of each, whatever, and we snowballed it from there. Then we formed the world's first rock and roll polo team.
Fantastic! How cool is that?
It was great. So we tried, and it's so funny. We tried to recruit Roger Taylor.
Oh right, okay.
Roger was recording with Queen somewhere near Oxford somewhere, and there's a famous studio up there. I forget the name of it now. So we went there, and because there's also a polo club close by. So we said, "Come on, Roger." We picked him up. Took him to the polo club, and I watched the polo game, sort of watching it, and right in front of us, this guy comes riding on a horse, hit the ball, fell off, broke his arm.
Ooh.
And Roger went,
no.
I've lost him so low.
It's so close, but so far.
Yeah. What we found, though, it's kind of weird, because we both found that hitting the ball, was kind of weird, because we kind of, especially if you get into a canter, it's like a rocking horse.
Yeah, I'm sure.
We found ourselves mathematically doing this sort of thing, like in a rhythm, which you don't want to do. So I had to get into a gallop straight away so we can forget the rhythm.
It must be
anyway. Enough of riding horses. Let's talk about drumming.
Yeah, but I'm fascinated. But it must be pretty tricky to. I can't even. I've already broken my arm once, and so my right arm isn't straight anymore. I did that felt falling off a mountain bike, so I don't think I'd be able to reach.
I've broken my bass drum foot. That's awful.
Ooh, yeah, that's no fun, is it?
No.
Anyway, look, hey, let's get back to the very, very beginning. Who were your early influences, Kenney, for playing drums?
Oh, I had a few, to be honest. Obviously, when I was teaching myself how to play, I went to a music shop, and they only sold sheet music, and there was Buddy Rich in there on the cover and all that. So that's how I got to know Buddy Rich quickly. So, and I bought it, this sheet music. I opened it up and went, oh, fuck, what's all that writing? It's double Dutch. So anyway, so I just became a fan of Buddy Rich straight away. And I kind of got into jazz a little bit because of it. And so I learned the swing straight away.
Mm.
And so And so that's one of my influences. And then I became a big fan of. I've always been a fan of the Shadows.
Yeah.
So Tony Meehan, I got to know.
Yeah.
Then he left the band. I thought, oh, and then this guy called Brian Bennett joined, and I thought, hang on, who's gonna? It can't be better than Tony Meehan. So I thought, okay, right. So and lo and behold, he was brilliant.
Yeah.
And he played Little B. Do you remember that solo?
Yes, B? I do.
Oh, it's stunning.
Yeah.
And I always tell myself when I was learning how to play, teaching myself how to play, that I had that off pat. There's no way I could have had it off pat. But you know what? I tried. Do you know? Brian's a good friend of mine now.
Yeah. Well, Brian's name pops up a lot when I speak of influences. Oh, yeah. So, you know, that says a lot about him, doesn't it? You know?
Oh, yeah. Al Jackson I became a massive fan of Al Jackson because just that simple sort of Booker T and the MG sort of feel. Yeah. Playing slightly behind the beat with a slight swing to it.
Absolutely. And I think that in your playing, that swing is quite evident still. You can hear it.
I'm so pleased you've noticed it.
Well, can't you? It's there, and you know.
Well, it's got Charlie Watts because he's a jazz drummer as well.
Yeah, of course.
It don't mean a thing if you ain't got that swing.
As they say, yeah.
When you're playing rock and roll, I mean, I've been labelled as a rock and roll drummer, and I don't know why, because I never, in the small phases, I never played rock and roll, really.
No.
It was all our own songs.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, I could play rock and roll, but it was always that stuff. Yeah, that sort of thing.
Totally. Well, I can hear that. I can hear it straight away. I mean, you listen to the classic stuff, and it's there. It's got that bounce to it.
I think it's got so many drummers now just play fours. And it's very much on the down, and there's never any swing to it.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. But I know you've got that
swing.
Yeah. Indeed.
And the other influences as well, because we toured a lot with the Hollies. So Bobby Elliott I became fascinated with Bobby's playing.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched him?
I've seen footage, not in depth, I'll be honest.
He's got wonderful feel, and it's great fills he does, and it just sort of snare and side drum, and they go up underneath the cymbal.
Oh yeah.
Great.
Showman.
Fantastic. Right, I got to watch him close up.
That's the best way.
Yeah. And who else? I'm sure. I think there's a couple more. No.
But Al Jackson's another popular one. I mean, his name pops up continuously, and there's not a lot to not like about Al Jackson's playing, is there? Let's be honest.
No, he's got that feel. He's just got it. It's not what you play. It's not what you don't play.
Yeah.
You know, exactly. It's got that. It's played the whole song, and then suddenly you get a great little simple feel towards the end.
Yeah. That's all it needs.
Yeah, that's all it needs.
Absolutely. Well, look, let's kind of skip forward a little bit. When you first, can you remember the first time all of the whole band, the Small Faces, got in a room together? Can you remember the first time you all played together as a unit?
I can remember the first time we all got together, and yeah, kind of.
It was a little while ago.
A long while ago. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. There's a few times we got together. Yeah, we smoked a big spliff between us.
Of course.
In those days. Yeah, and then we started to play, and it was great because we actually chatted more than when we first got together. And Steve Marriott lived in Ilford, and his mum and dad had a piano in the front room, and we listened to. Steve loved Ray Charles, so we listened to a lot of Ray Charles stuff, a lot of Jimmy McGriff, and that sort of thing. So we started off in a little jazz sort of groove in a way, but we loved instrumentals as well. That's why we did quite a few nice little instrumentals in the Small Faces.
Yeah. Was like that magic there straight away when you started?
Yeah, you could feel it. You knew it was straight away. I mean, one of the great things about the Small Faces is we had this built-in telepathy. I can't say it. Telepathy. It's my teeth. Telepathy. Anyway,
what are you talking about?
So I mean, we never told each other what to do, in a sense. But we knew exactly what we were each other. Well, I knew exactly what to do, and they never told me what to do, and I did it.
Yeah, yeah, just work straight away.
Yeah,
I think the
so
best
it's one of
bands.
those things where you bond, and
Yeah.
that's very rare, very rare. Not a lot of people do that.
That's the best. That's how the best bands work. I think it's just got to be. It's built in.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, it's not manufactured. It's just that's it. Simple as that.
Don't forget, when we got together, none of us got together because we wanted to be like the Beatles or a fortune or fame or anything like that. We just wanted to please ourselves, and if anyone liked it, that was great. So that was none of that. Like, you know, I want to be famous, so I'm going to force myself out of place.
Yeah, of course, of course. And do you remember the first time hearing Steve Marriott's voice? Because it's an amazing thing, isn't it?
Well, Ronnie and I went to see him when he had. We didn't know him then. We saw him once. We were playing on the same bill. I was in a band, or Ronnie and I were in a band called The Outcasts, and on the same bill was Steve Marriott and the Moments. Well, what I noticed straight away was this: Steve had this great big boom microphone, so bending over like this. The stand was right by his side, and it came right over like this and right down, you know, right down like that. And so everyone could see him. When he started to sing, oh God, blew the roof off.
Yeah, I'll bet.
And that was that. We went off, didn't think anything more about it, and then we bumped into him again. When Ronnie Lane said to me, "I don't want to play," Ronnie Lane was playing, learning how to play lead guitar when we first got together.
Yeah.
So he got a Gresh, like a George Harrison Gresh, same colour, same everything.
Yeah.
And so Ronnie, when he was playing, because he'd only been playing a couple of weeks, and I'd only been playing a couple of weeks. Well, I've been playing a bit longer, about 2 months. And then Ronnie would play, and he'd go, watching his fingers, you know. So it's all a bit. I'm trying to keep time, and it's like, anyway, you know the feeling.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Only too well.
So one day Ronnie said to me, "I'm fed up with playing." He said, "I don't want to play lead guitar anymore. I want to play bass." And by chance, I bought my first drum kit, Olympic white drum kit, and carved skins on it. We keep going off the subject, don't we?
It's fine. Don't worry. It's fine. I like this.
So there's a shop called the J60s in Green Lane, I think it was called, in Ilford. I think it was Ilford, anyway. Anyway, it's where Ronnie Lane lived, anyway.
Yeah.
And so we went into the shop, and this little cocky guy comes up on a Saturday morning. "Well, how can I help you?" I say, he wants to look at some basses. He wants to play bass. "Oh, I've got a few of those. Come with me, I'll show you something." They went off and saw Ronnie and this guy. So they just playing away, playing bass and all that. And I saw this drum kit out of the corner of my eye, all set up. It was like 2 or 3. So I went over there and sat on that. I started to play the drums. It's Saturday morning. The shop was packed. So I'm just playing like that. And then suddenly Ronnie Lane started to play a bit of bass and joined in with me. And this other guy picked up a guitar and started to play. That was the first time.
Wow.
That just happened to be Steve Marriott.
No.
Because, yeah, he had a Saturday morning job just to earn some pocket money.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
That's incredible. It just meant to be, wasn't it?
And that's how we got together, yeah.
What a great story.
Yeah, I know, it's all in the book. I've got a book.
Oh, there you go. Well, hey, that's I'll have to get that one. I'm into my biographies.
There's a few gems in there.
There we go. We'll have a look for that one. So obviously, start of an amazing career for the Small Faces. Obviously.
Oh, I can't believe it. I mean, what amazes me to this day is how many songs we were together only for about 4.5 years.
Yeah.
And we are famous for 4.5 years. Prior to that, we were together a little bit longer.
Yeah.
You know, getting to know each other as kids, you know.
Of course.
What amazes me is how many songs we actually recorded in that short space of time, and how many hits we had, and what an impression we made on everybody. I couldn't figure out what people saw in us. Should have been small.
But they did. And you know, the first track I think I heard was Itchy Park. And as a kid, I remember being fascinated when it kind of get that phasey effect on it.
Yes.
On that, like, I think it's like a triplet tom fill. And it's like, I remember thinking, how does he get his drums to set? What drums are they? And at the time, I didn't have the ears to realize it was on the whole track.
Yeah.
I just thought, what's he done to his drums there? And, you know, as a I don't know, I'd have been 6 or 7 thinking, they're amazing. It's funny, isn't it, the effect it has on.
That happened was Kenney Jones, our engineer at the time. He wasn't a producer then, he's a producer now. And he was a great guy to work with. And it was in Olympic Studios and in the big room, Studio 1.
Yeah.
Massive. And so all we had was a big overhead and stuff up in the air. And then a snare and I think, no, more overhead, I think. It was only close mic on the snare. And so basically I got the ambient sound of the room and Glyn captured the sound because I said to him, how'd you get my sound like that? And he went, it's you silly son, it's you. I said, how'd you do it? He said, well, it's your drums and the ambient sound. That's how good that room. I said, oh, hang on, I don't know who that was. Someone's talking to me. Right, sorry, that was my phone talking to itself.
That's all right, clever.
And so what we in the small faces, we were never afraid to experiment and do all kinds of stuff. So we, you know, I did that feel like, but the thing is, I said it just needs that bit more. It's not really just like. So I said we made this sort of shh noise, you know.
Yeah.
So we Glyn being the engineer then. The way we created it was we put a piece of tape, like a 1/4-inch tape, around the machine.
Yeah.
And then round back, we need to make it last long. So I went shh.
Okay.
So we wrapped it around the back of a chair, made the effect, and then we put that on.
Amazing.
That's how phasing happened for me.
It was just, I remember hearing it and I remember the excitement just from those few bars. It was like, wow, that's, you know, as I say, I didn't realize because it's pretty much on the whole track, isn't it? And
well, I think phasing is great if you know how to use it.
That's the
I
thing.
always find phasing is really good if you use a bit of phasing on your snare drum as an effect.
Yeah.
But not a lot, just a tiny smidgen.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree.
Great for us.
So that was my first introduction. And then obviously, when you were recording your third album, wasn't it, Ogden's, not Gone Flake, when you were recording that, did you have any idea how successful that was going to be? Because that was,
I knew as we were making it and we were creating the storyline and playing each song, I knew where we were going. And I think, to be honest, the minute Stanley Unwin came in and started narrating the parts, and he said, look, I want to get to know each one of you so I can pick up your phrasing and mannerisms and your things you're saying. That's why I said, blow your cool. Are you sitting comfortable to square on your body? So when he started to tell the storyline, we all sort of went, oh God, that's the story he's telling. So it's great because the lyrics tell the story.
Yeah, of course.
So straight away I said to Steve and the rest of the guys, this will make a great cartoon. I said, when I say animation, I couldn't even spell animation then. Still can't. I think, you know, so I thought it'd make a great animation film, and it's always lived with me. So I knew it was going to be special. Yeah.
It's such a. I mean, even now, it's so highly regarded as one of the best British albums ever.
Way over its time. I tell you, I enjoyed making it because and the great thing was Kenney Jones, our engineer, knew how to capture us and the songs.
Yeah.
And get the great sound he got. But one of the things, it gave me a chance to do the things that I've been doing on sessions. We should play a lot of sessions.
Yeah.
1 minute I'll be playing a big band session or whatever. So I'd end up doing all this great big sort of fills. And so I got a chance to bring those, what I'd learned in those sessions, into the studio and into those songs.
Of course. And
so I'm very proud of the drumming on that album.
It's immense. It really is. Do you have a favorite track from that album, or is it really hard to do that? Favorite child
really, I like most of it, all of it. I mean, but the thing is, I think the title track, because I co-wrote that. It's my idea. Oh, Does Not Go Flake, the title track.
Yeah,
it's really, I mean, it's really nice.
It's brilliant. It's lovely. I mean, my personal favorite is Rolling Over, really bluesy.
Oh yeah.
I think it's such a great song.
Brian May did that on his solo album.
Oh really?
Yeah.
It's a great song. I think that's a brilliant song.
Personally. I remember recording it because, and then I had this great. Pasty gave me a great big cymbal. I walked into a drum seat in Shaftesbury Avenue, and this guy came up to me and went, "I'm glad you've come in." He said, "Pasty asked me to give this cymbal to you." It was fucking huge, 26-inch. Oh. Still good.
Really?
Oh, and so I set it up like that, and then just sort of, and then, I mean, it's bigger than anything, bigger than the drum kit. So that's how I did it. So it's all cymbal.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely. You need a hell of a stand to put that on as well, a sturdy.
Oh yeah, I know. So it's a great song, yeah.
That's one of my favourites. It really is, obviously.
Well, everyone's got a little favourite in the whole album. It's amazing.
It's just that bluesy. I think it works so well. That's a great album, isn't it? You know, and as I say, to this day, it stands up as one of the best British albums ever. So it's a hell of a legacy.
I was thinking of Jimi Hendrix was around in the early days of that, and I was thinking when I was playing it, I kept thinking about that. Yeah, I kept thinking of that sort of influence.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's got that swing still there. You know, everything you've ever done. Yeah, absolutely. So look, we forward into the 70s, and then the Small Faces develops into the Faces with a few major changes.
Ourselves the big faces, bigger, little and large faces.
How did was it? Was it a totally different feel? Obviously.
Oh yeah. It was when we first got together. When we first, I mean, once again, that happened by accident. When we split up, Steve left, and we found ourselves completely lost. We didn't know what to do. We didn't even think about reforming. We just wanted to stay together and play. That's all. Didn't think about anything about forming a band or anything. And luckily, we knew the Stones quite well. And the Stones had a warehouse in Bermondsey Street. And they had a kind of studio down the bottom in the basement, which is like a tiny room. It's just slightly soundproof.
Yeah.
And they kept all their equipment there, and it was a warehouse. And they said, "Look, we've got this little room. Why don't you go there, set your drums up and your kit and whatever, all your gear, and you can go down there and play." So they gave it to us for as long as we wanted. So we go down there all the time, and just the three of us, me, Ronnie, and Matt.
Yeah.
So we just jammed a lot, just jammed. And then one day, Ronnie Lane brought down his new next door neighbour, which was Ronnie Wood.
Right, okay.
So he came in and he said, "Oh, I've asked Ronnie to come and just have a little play with us, you know." So I said, "Yeah, great, lovely." And Woody was playing bass with the Jeff Beck band at that moment.
Sure.
So he said, "I don't want to play bass. It's a bit the opposite to Ronnie Lane. I don't want to play bass. I want to play guitar." So he started playing guitar, which filled that sort of gap for us.
Yeah, of course.
It was good. So we just jammed till the next week. Ronnie Wood brought down, because he's got two Ronnies now in the band.
Yeah, of course, confusing, yeah.
Woody brought down his one of his best mates, and that was Rod Stewart.
Wow.
But for the first couple of times he came down, Rob was sort of sitting on the flight cases, waiting for us to go up the pub, you know, because we would play for a few songs, and then we watch. Okay, right, up the pub, up the Bermondsey Arms it was.
Yeah.
So we go up the Bermondsey Arms and get brandy and coke. So well, that seemed to be the drink of the season. That one. So we go up and just sort of have a chat and God knows what. Well, and then we come back, and then Rob was sitting on the amps and watching us. And then one day we started to. I said, "Well, we've got to get serious and sort of see what sing. Someone's got to sing." So Ronnie sang, Ronnie Lane, and of course Ronnie's got such a feeling to his wonderful voice, and that was great, But all in the back of my mind all the time was, you're still missing after that powerful voice of Steve Marriott.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Max started to sing, and I went, yeah. Okay. So he's got a great voice, so no problem. And then Woody sang, and went, yeah. So, and all the time, my eyes kept looking at Rod. I knew Rod was a singer.
Yeah. Was he in Jeff Beck's band at this time?
Yeah, both of them, Woody and
Rod, yeah.
They were both on a wage at £60 a week, which is a lot of money.
Yeah,
yeah. So, and then Rob was just sort of there. So I said, we went up one of these breaks where we went up to Bermondsey Arms. I put my arm around Rod and I said, fancy a drink around the other bar? Can I have a quick word? So yeah. So we went around outside. I said, Rod, do you fancy joining the band? And he went, oh God, do you think everyone would let me? I said, yeah, of course. So that evening, Alvin Lee, the guitarist, was having a sort of a few people around his place, his music flat. So we all went around there. And then we, what happened? I said to Ronnie, the two Ronnies and Mac, let's go upstairs, I've got something to say. And I said, look, I've asked Rod to join the band. First thing that happened was Mac and Ronnie sort of went, no, we don't want another prima donna in the band. We don't want anyone walking out on us. I went, oh, fuck. So I sat out for ages trying to persuade them. In the end, I wouldn't give in, I won. So that was it. I said to Rod, come on, you're part of the band now.
Wow. You come from one great voice to another.
Then when we went back and we sort of the next day we were having to play in the Stones sort of thing, then it sounded complete. Yeah, it sounded great. Straight away.
I mean, when you think of iconic 70s voices, you've had two of them in a row there.
Oh God! I mean, I'm so lucky. I mean, don't forget, I play with the strongest vocalists in the world. I mean. And been a part of the same band as well. So I can't believe it. You got Steve Marriott, Rod, Paul Rogers in the Law when I was in the Law.
Yeah.
Well, and before that was obviously Daltrey.
Yeah, it's not bad, is it?
In the Who when I was in the Who.
Oh,
so yeah,
it's just phenomenal, really. When you know.
And I did an album with Chuck Berry.
Oh, really?
I was in heaven when I did that because he liked my drumming. I thought, oh great, and I did another one with an album with Jerry Lee Lewis.
Fantastic. So you can play rock and roll drums then.
Apparently, that's what they liked it. So there you go. Maybe it's all down to that swing.
Yeah. It's 100%. But there was a song with the Faces, and you covered an old Temptations tune, and it had a massive drum solo in it as well.
Did it? Oh, Losing You.
You're Losing You. That, you know what? After hearing your version of that, I can't listen to the Temptations version anymore. It doesn't sound.
They're completely different songs. I mean, different sort of arrangements and different things.
It sounds so thin, the Temptations version.
Well,
it sounds really thin. The Temptations.
We've been with a sparkle of rock and roll over it.
More than a sparkle. I mean, was that a staple song in your set at the time? Was that your feature?
It became one. You see, what happened was we used to do it, but it only had a drum break in it, like so where Rod could chant over it.
Yeah.
So it was only a short little break, and then I never forget. I lived in Hampstead at the time. Rod was making a solo album, and he called me up. He said, I'm just over at Cricklewood Studios. Well, he said, not very far. Can you come over and play on this track, Losing You? I said, yeah, no problem. So I'll never forget. I was watching a film at the time. It just started, so I went over there, and I got behind the drums, and I did the song, Losing You, and that's how it got on the album.
It's a great, and the arrangement is just phenomenal. It really is.
That became like sort of, it got bigger and bigger and longer and longer and longer. And when it got longer, it came to a point where I was playing this sort of break, and then everyone ran off the stage and went to the pub. So left me there on my own playing this bloody song. I kept looking around going, oh, not there. In the end, that's how it became a drum solo.
Oh, it's lovely. There's a version on YouTube. I'm sure you've seen it. It's from the BBC. I don't know what show it was.
Oh, that one, yeah. When I had a moustache.
Yeah, and it's about 9 minutes long. I mean, you get a few brandy and cokes within that time, wouldn't you? Let's be honest.
Well, the thing was that was a sort of a rock and roll sort of version of it in a sense, but now it's developed into something a bit more technical.
Yeah.
So I suddenly realised, I can, when you're playing with different bands, you never get a chance to play your rudiments, paradiddles and stuff. So I thought, okay, I've got a chance to show off now. So then I could do my shadow stuff, my Brian Bennett stuff, and so my press rolls, and it's become a little bit more technical.
Of course,
but you must never lose the thread of that.
Absolutely, I totally agree. And so, look, I want to move on a little bit. Obviously, it ended up, the Faces wound up, and then I know a few things happened in the meanwhile. And then sadly, Keith Moon passed away. You got offered the job. Were you friends with Keith at the time?
Keith and I were really good friends. The Who and the Small Faces used to tour a lot together, all over Europe and Australia, New Zealand, those places. So we had a good laugh. I mean, it's like being in one great big band, to be honest.
Yeah.
When I was in the Small Faces, Keith would never turn up for his sound check. Then I would get Pete saying, "Kenney, can you play the drums for us so we can do a sound check?" I said, "Yeah, no problem." Sit behind this great big kit, fucking hell, all these fucking drums from. So I did that. That's how. So we're great mates now. Yeah. I've got to say, at this point, there is only one drummer meant to be for the Who, and that's Keith Moon, not me.
Yeah.
Or anybody else.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so the thing is, I mean, when I joined the band, it was by chance I joined. I said no when I got asked. Bill Kirsley, the Who's manager, called me up and said, "Kenney, actually, I'll come straight to the point. The Who have had a meeting now. Keith's not around," he said, and they decided to stay together, but they want you to join the band. They're not looking at anybody else.
Yeah.
So I said, I said, "Thank you very much, Bill. It's a very great compliment." I said, "But I can't." And I could almost hear Bill's chin drop. So what do you mean you can't? I said, "Well, I'm just forming a band with, we're putting a band together with Glyn Johns, and we're just about to sign to Atlantic Records." And it was kind of half American, half English, and it was a pretty good band.
Yeah. So
he said, "Well, look, Steve." So I'll get all the names mixed up there. Someone famous. No, Pete Townsend said no. Bill said, "Pete Townsend's coming into the office today." He said, "Why don't you come and have a chat?" I said, "Oh, happy to see Pete anytime." So I said, "Yeah, it's only Wardour Street, and I only lived in Hampstead." "Yeah, straight down there." About 6 o'clock, we sat there for about 2 hours laughing and joking about all the times we'd spent together on the road. Then suddenly Pete went, it's typical Pete. You got to join the band. You're one of us. You're a mod. You. It really got to me. I said, "I'll tell you what." I said, luckily the band, after the band, the American side of the band, is in town. I'll go and see them later and have a chat. So I went to them and I said, look, boys, I said, and there was one girl in the band. I said, look, I've been asked to join the Who. Told them this, what happened. They said, no, you know what I said? They said, Kenny, you've got to do it. You must do it.
Great.
So that was said. That was so gracious, and that's how I ended up in the Who.
Incredible. Was it?
I did say, there's no way I'm copying Keith Moon. There's no way I could. He's a unique player in his own right.
Yeah. But
he said no, because we have some, now Keith's not there. So we have a chance to go to do something completely different. So I thought, great. So I could just be me, and that's it. Of course, we never ever did anything completely different because the fans just wanted the old stuff.
But you know, I mean, I can hear elements of Keith, perhaps, you know, not intentionally, but some of the fills, and it's just like, yeah,
you know why? Because I said, some of the stuff, I certain things you have to play like Keith because some of the fills are great and they're really good. So
yeah,
and I like some of the things he was doing, so I kept those. And also, I'm a lot straighter drummer, so the Who are not used to that.
Yeah.
I mean, towards the end, I thought, sorry, I got it right towards the end, and then we all fell apart basically. Because when I joined the band, I was going through a divorce.
Yeah.
So was Pete Townsend. So was Entwistle.
Oh God.
Roger's the only one that was straight. So all of us were hitting the bottle. So we were, and also it was a very, very emotional time because, you know, I joined literally, I don't know, a couple of months after Keith's death. You know.
Yeah.
And so it's all very new. Townsend was making a solo album, Empty Glass.
Yeah.
We were promoting Kids Are All Right and Quadrophenia at the same time. And so that was a sidetrack, kept us together a bit. And then sort of when we started to play, it was fantastic. It was playing. One of the hardest things was learning the Who's repertoire in literally about 10 days rehearsal, straight into a gig.
Yeah, full on that.
That was hard, you know. So I put my whole session out and start making notes and things in my own parrot fashion.
Do you remember your first gig playing live with the Who? Was it a nerve-wracking affair?
Yeah, it was. God, where's it? I can't remember. The Rainbow, I think.
Okay.
I think it was. I can't remember.
Yeah.
It was a theatre.
Yes.
Islington somewhere.
Yeah. So was it a nerve-wracking kind of affair, that going on stage?
Yeah, I mean, Jagger was backstage as well. So you've got a lot of famous people on the side of the stage.
Yeah. So no escape.
So I'm playing, and all I wanted to do was make sure that I didn't fuck up, basically. So then suddenly you forget about that, and you start to get into the music and you play. And so I just did it. I did everything as best I could, and so when I finished, I just threw the six in the air, and then we sort of came up and gave me a great big cuddle. So
Brilliant.
Great feeling.
Is it ever in the back of your mind? I mean, I always try and ask this question for people who've filled in for other legendary drummers who've passed on, you know. Is it ever in the back of your mind, well, I hope the fans are going to take to me? Because obviously Keith was an iconic part of that band, wasn't he? You know, loved by the fans, loved by everyone.
It's everyone kept saying to me, well, it used to really annoy me in them. It's just like filling Keith Moore's shoes. I said, well, he does. We're both different sizes.
Good answer. Great answer. But you know, as well as the live stuff, you played on Face Dances, didn't you? Which is a bloody good album. Let's be honest.
Face Dances is a good album. Yeah.
The opening song, "You Better You Bet," is one of my favourite Who songs, and
yeah. Funny enough, You Bet You Bet is. I like You Bet You Bet. It's quite simple in its approach. But you know, if you haven't played it for a long time, my band, the Jones Gang, they said, "Why don't we do You Bet You Bet?" So I said, okay. So, and all of a sudden, I sort of flying away, and I went. I said to my wife afterwards, when we learned the song, I said, I run through the song. I said, "Blimey, I didn't realise what a powerful song that was." I said, I couldn't keep up with myself.
It's a great song. It really is, and it's one. that's one of the classics in my mind. You know, it stands up with Won't Get Fooled Again and whatever else substitute, you know.
Well, I think it's the last hit they ever had.
Was it really? Oh, that
I
makes
think so. I don't know.
sense. But a great album. And then, you know.
It went in the charts, let's put it that way.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. You're no stranger to being in the charts, let's be honest. So let's jump a little bit further forward. I'm lucky enough to have spoken to lots of drummers who've appeared on Live Aid with different bands. So that was kind of your, I think, was it your last official appearance with The Who? Or one of them?
I suppose, no, that was 1985, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So not in '88, I played the BPI Awards, I think.
Right.
No, is it BPI? I can't remember. Anyway.
Yeah, but that was I remember Live Aid was pretty much my reason for getting into drums. I remember, I was 12 or something, or what have you, 11. Just watching. I watched it. I was on holiday in Butlins. Obviously, parents had paid a lot of money, and I remember I sat in from midday to midnight, and I watched the whole thing back to back, much to their, they weren't impressed, put it that way. And I remember watching The Who, and I was just blown away. That must have been. I mean, apparently you blew a fuse with the BBC for the first couple of numbers, because it missed part of the set, didn't they?
You can't buy these moments; they just happen for no apparent reason. Because the satellite blew up.
Right. Okay.
Connection between America and London.
Right. I got you.
And it got to it happened in Why Don't You Fade Away, and it did. It just perfect. Went off for a couple of minutes and came back again.
Magic.
The only other time that happened was when we did a gig on American tour in Buffalo, and we were playing this gig, and then we were doing Rain on Me.
Yeah.
And suddenly the heavens opened up, and Daughtry got soaked. And we just poured, and we just got you. Even Roger said, "You can't buy this."
No, isn't it incredible that? That's just amazing. So, have you got fond memories of Live Aid?
Yeah, I have. Yeah,
because you were on quite late, as you were quite high up on the rankings, on the rankings, you know what I mean, in the set order.
The reason I remember, well, we had traffic lights on the side of the stage.
Okay. They
said it's going to go the same as a normal track: green, amber, green, and then red. And then that's when it's cut. We're going to turn you off.
Yeah.
That fits so many people in. That made me laugh. But no, the reason I remember Live Aid is because we had to be there early in the morning, about 9 o'clock or so, to actually do the opening ceremony.
Yeah.
With Lady Di and Prince Charles.
Mm.
And so we were there, and did the funny enough, I'm in the Queen's film.
Oh, really?
So is Roger. But
amazing.
In the opening ceremony, it's real time. If you look carefully, you should see it's in there.
I'll have to revisit. I've got the DVD, so.
Yeah. So we did that. What I did was, we had Live Aid had these two big, massive helicopters, ferrying everyone backwards and forwards to the cricket ground, which is next to the stadium, because you couldn't land in the stadium.
Yeah,
there's too many people. So, and I just learned to fly helicopters as well.
Okay.
I was a pilot for at least a year, and so what I did was, I flew into Battersea Heliport myself, parked up the helicopter, and then the guys the two pilots who were ferrying everyone's back and forth, I said, "Oh, you fly?" I said, "Yeah, no. Would you want to co-pilot this one with us?" I said, "Yeah, great." So I ended up co-piloting that helicopter. It was a big one, massive. You could take off backwards like that.
Wow.
It gets transitional lift. And then, so we flew down there, and I had my guy met me with my car. Yeah, and took us from there to the stadium.
Yeah.
And then we did the nice to meet you. And that was it. So we did the opening ceremony. I did it all in reverse again. I went home, because it's a long day. So I flew back home and landed in the garden and just sat and watched it on TV for ages.
And then went back.
Then I went back about an hour before we were going on, 2 hours before, and did that.
The gig itself, I mean, many on the day, many acts suffered from not the best sound, let's say. But I think The Who had one of the best sounds of the day, as you heard it on TV anyway.
Well, to be honest, I don't remember Queen, this thing going around saying that Queen stole the show. I don't think so. I mean, I don't remember that at all. I think it was everyone sort of was at a moment in their show, in their set.
Yeah,
I remember we did as good as we could do.
It was incredible. It really was. And I mean, the whole show, there was no weak moment.
It's nice to be a part of it, you know.
And you know what? It's something that it's in history now. It's there. It's a hell of a legacy. It's forever, isn't it? You know, one of the biggest.
Yeah.
And it is to the day. People say, "What got you into drums?" And Live Aid is always my answer. It's as simple as that. Watching all these amazing players, you know, and yeah, hell of a thing. What was it like playing alongside the Ox? Because a hell of a bass player.
Oh, great! Because I mean, that's when I started to get a faster foot based on. Because the Ox would just go. Blah, 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 blah. You do it with this hand and this hand.
Yeah.
Like little runs, like little triplets and things, you know.
Yeah.
And so I found myself, you know, it's like sitting between two lead guitarists. So one's got Pete, one's on my left, and the other one's on the right. One's at high end, one's low end.
Amazing.
So I was just playing this, and I found my foot. So trying to keep up, but accidentally with some emphasis fills, and so now I'm doing triplets with my foot. So I've always been practicing that anyway, because you used to discover it when you're learning to play, like when you get on a nerve.
Yeah.
Oh, that was great. How do I do that? And you can't get it to work again. So I ended up perfecting that, and that's when I sort of did a lot of that stuff. So I did keep up with them as much as I could.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just such as you say, you know, you've the people that you've played with as musicians and singers, it's literally the best of the very best, isn't it? It's as simple as that.
Well, I'm very lucky and very fortunate that God has gifted me in a certain way, because I even ask myself these questions. I go, how did this stuff happen to me? You know. Wow. So I must have pleased somebody.
Absolutely. There's no question, is there? You know, you don't get there by chance, Kenny. It's as simple as that. If you don't cut it, you don't make it. It's as simple, isn't it?
I think, to be honest, I think I'm so pleased that I'm self-taught. And I get a lot of people saying, "Got any advice?" I said, "Yeah." Apart from practice. I said, you've got to have influences, but you've got to find your own self. You've got to find your own style first. Right. Once you know how to, you know your way around the drum kit, you've got to play. You've got to perform. You know, you've got to find your style, what pleases you. You know, and so you find a way that's comfortable for you, and you get to know your kit, and you got your own style.
Yeah, 100%. That sounds like
once you've got your own style and you've found yourself, that's when things happen.
Yeah,
that's when you become a different drummer to anyone that's, you know, if you have too many lessons, you become like somebody else.
Yeah, totally agree. Well, look, Kenny, I can't tell you what a treat this has been to spend. I said I was going to keep you for no more than half an hour. In true fashion, it's been 56 minutes, so I apologise for that.
We're in lockdown. It's great to have something to do. No, I'm only kidding.
Well, look, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it. And
it's a real pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. I know lots of people are going to enjoy this. It's great you're looking well as well. I don't know, and I have to say a big thank you to Simon Kirk, our mutual friend who set this up.
Let's praise his drumming. He's a great drummer. I've always loved Simon's drumming. He used to call into me at my house years ago when I lived in Kingston Hill, and he called in. I had a little practice room in half my garage, and he said, "Mel, show me how you did that." You know, I said, "Only if you show me how you do your fantastic dirty drum feels so like that. You know that press rolls.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
It's just sort of thing. Also, I'm jealous of him because he can play guitar. I can't.
Well, it's not everything, but you know the thing is, two of Simon's influences, Brian Bennett, Al Jackson. So there you go. You cut from the same cloth, I think, you two.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there we go. That Brian Bennett was the first name out of his mouth. So there we go.
Oh, there you go. Great taste, you see.
Yeah, absolutely. Kenny, thank you so much. And
See you later.
yes, virtual handshake. So let's hope we see you out and about soon once we get this get this lockdown over with, and we'll get on with the business.
Yeah, I hope so.
Thank you, mate. Much appreciated.
Take
Thanks,
care.
Kenny. Take care. Bye-bye.